this month is very special, Rabi'. However, Imam Suyuti said that, rahmullah ta'ala, about the Mawlid, he said that we're not for these great grandiose types of Mawlids. Imam Suyuti said it, where money is wasted and food is wasted. He said that's not the meaning of the Mawlid. And unfortunately, some of our Mawlids are not very well organized. And I've said it before, and probably on the internet again. You know, people are cutting cakes on Mawlid, and I detest it with all my heart. Cutting cakes, and this is the message of God we're talking about. You cut cakes for your children, not for the message of God. I've seen people put candles on the cake. I mean, you know, these types of things. We don't need all of that. You want to love the message of God. The message of God doesn't need your cake. It needs your salawat. And he doesn't even need that, because God raises his rank regardless of whatever we say. He has no need towards us in that regard. We have need towards him. What I want to talk about now is why. So this month is special first. Then just a little point I want to make, a little dig, maybe. And then you can't say it because it's important. And then I want to talk about the Sahaba. This month is very, very special. Why? Said Muhammad ibn Alawi al-Maliki rahimahullah ta'ala states the following. He said Arabs had many months that were famous. Muharram was famous. The Arabs loved the month. Sacred for them. Dhul Hijjah was sacred. People came to make Hajj. Rajab was sacred. There were sacred months to the Arabs. Jahili Arabs. He said sacred to the believers, there were months. Muharram. The 10th of Muharram was the month Ashura. That Musa alayhi salam was given his opening saying, Musa alayhi salam. Some say he split the Red Sea on this day. They say it was the day that Sayyidina Adam turned to his Lord. And we believe, based on the hadith of the Mustadrak of Hakim and other variations of the hadith, that it was through the intercession of the Messenger of God alayhi salatu wasalam. Forgive me for the sake of whose name was next to yours in Al-Jannah, in the hadith of Sayyidina Adam. Now, why not that month? Why wasn't he born in Muharram? Everything is done for a reason, for the Messenger of God. He's born in Rabi'. Why? The Arabs don't have any consideration for this spring. Why was he born in a month that the Arabs, or our tradition, the Abrahamic tradition, has zero importance in our tradition, Rabi'? I'm telling you nothing, you will find nothing about Rabi'. Nothing. Why? Why would Allah choose that much? Why not Muharram? For one reason, I only said Muhammad ibn Ali al-Maliki. He says for exclusivity. He said because so his birth will not be shared with any other event. That when you say Rabi', you don't remember Ashura. When you say Rabi', you don't remember Hajj. When you say Rabi', you don't remember Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. When you say Rabi', you say Yawm or Shahr wulida fihi Nabi alayhi salatu, which the Prophet was born in. You can't think of any other event that took place in that month except the birth of the Messenger of God. Those people who say, and he died in that month, the Messenger did not die. He did not die. People don't die. This is an atheistic understanding of death. Shaitan tricked you. What's death? What's death? Ghazali said, انتقال الروح من مكان إلى مكان آخر. The shifting of a soul to from one place to another. Who said the Messenger of God is dead? حرم الله على الأرض حرم الله على الأرض أن تأكل أجساد الأنبياء فالنبي الله حين يرزق. God has made it impermissible for the earth to consume bodies of prophets. The Messenger of God is alive and God sustains him. They're alive not like us, they're alive in the Ithmas life. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala states, prophets make Hajj and Umrah every single year. Don't take it up with me and go like that to talk to Nawawi, Abu Zakaria, the greatest scholar of his time. He said Hajj and Umrah every year. You know, how many prophets did the Prophet meet in the earth on the night of Mi'raj? You don't know what you're messing with. I mean, so this is the lofty status that the Messenger has in his grave. Sa'id ibn Musayyib. You know Sa'id ibn Musayyib? Put your hand up if you know Sa'id ibn Musayyib, the name, if you've heard of it. No, you heard of it. None of you, so I'll tell you. Sa'id ibn Musayyib is a tabi'. He's a man who met Sahaba. He's so famous and so trustworthy that if he narrates a hadith without mentioning the name of the Sahabi, they used to trust it. Because they investigated them and they found them all to be true anyway. Sa'id al-Musayyib, when Yazid, everyone familiar with Yazid, yeah? That's pretty much enough that I don't have to say anymore, but I spoiled my Mawlid. they celebrate the spoil the lesson. Yazid, when he attacked Medina al-Munawwara, he took soldiers into the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. Some riwayat, the animals even took into the masjid. And some of the tabi'in, they hid. And Sa'id ibn Musayyib hid in the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. And they asked him later, they said, Ya Sa'id, Ya Imam. He was the Imam, the greatest scholars of the Salaf. Without the eye. So they said, how did you pray your salah? How did you know you were hidden in this little area without sunlight? He said, I could hear the adhan from the grave of the Messenger of God. I mean, this is kind of, we're going to talk about other narrations like this in a little while. Yeah. About the Messenger of God. So this month of Rabi'ah is very special for the Messenger of God. It's a spring month. Why? That's where greenery comes out. All greenery needs lighter, perfect weather conditions. It all needs the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. So it's important for that reason. Number two, my one point that I wanted to make. We are people who come together to remember the Messenger of God in this month. That's our sole intention. And this is Sunnah of the Sahaba. In the Hadith raised by Ibn Majah, in the Sunnah, that in the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, a group of people were sitting one day. It's a sound hadith. Okay? And something really important. We need to get over kind of refuting. I'm not for it. I mean, we got no time for that. I mean, people can do what they want. We're going to do what we want to do. And we spent long enough time, many years, them kind of spoiling our gatherings. You got your masjids, do what you need to do. We got our masjids, leave us alone. Imam al-Busiri says, like, leave me alone. He says, Ya la'imi fil hawal udhri ma'adhiratan mini ilayka wa la ansafta lam talum. He says, oh, you criticize me, leave me alone. That's not the translation, but that's what he's saying. He said, by God, if you knew what our emotional state was with the Messenger of God, he said, you would never blame me for it. He said, leave us alone. It's like, we're not harming you. If the lights are hurting your eyes, we'll take them off. So you'll need them on the Day of Judgment, trust me. Anyway, so but what I want to say here is, there's no room for that anymore. There's no room for that. What we need is just to do it. We just need to remember the Messenger of Allah. And in this hadith, the sound hadith, they're saying, the Messenger of Allah walks in the masjid of the Messenger of Allah. He said, what are you here? What are you doing? Well, why did he ask them that? You don't go to the masjid and gather together without the permission of the Messenger of God generally. Yeah? Say, Ya Rasulullah, we want to do something in the masjid. What should we do? They were just there. He's looking at them. In the hadith, it doesn't mention which Sahaba were there. The Prophet said, what are you doing? He said, Ya Rasulullah, we've come together today to remember God and thank God for sending you to us as a ni'mah, as a bounty. For that's why we're here. You see, look at what they're lifting. He said, Allah, by God, do you swear that you came for that? They said, by God, we swear that we came for that. He said, I did not question you because I doubted your intention. It's because God is praising you in the company of the angels for what you have done here. That wasn't a gathering commissioned by the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. It was commissioned by their love for the Messenger of God. They gathered in the masjid for that specific reason that we gather in the Mawlids for. So if you got a problem with us, you're going to have a big problem with Sahaba. You see, we don't do it on specific days, we do it all the time. A person who does it on specific days, something's wrong with him. People just get together on the 12th of Rabi'ah, well, you should kick him out of the majlis. You don't gather together on the 12th specifically. Love is not, sitting with my teacher, and he didn't know what Valentine's Day was. He said, Bataye ye jo Valentine's Day hai, ye kya hai? So let's look, Valentine's Day is 14th of February. It's where two people, well, not always two people, if a person loves another person, sometimes anonymously, they give them gifts, or they get together, have this, you know what it is. They explained it like that. I said, ये तो बहुत अजीब है ना. This is really odd. He said, "Ek hi din, pure saal mein ek hi din." I said, "Ek hi din?" He said, "Husband and wife for one day only. They show love." I said, "Yeah, maybe." I said, and he doesn't know the background to it, like, the kind of the historical background. I said, "Is it okay? Is it allowed?" He said, "Dekhe ye masakin jo hai," he goes, "these poor people." He said, "At least they've got one day, yeah." I said, "No, you don't know where it came from." And he said, "I don't know." We don't have that for the Messenger of God. We don't ever get to this on one day. It's a constant state. And we're going to look at the Sahaba. And that's why some scholars had a problem with this kind of, one day we're going to get together and that's what we're going to do. They had it with a lot of things. You see, a lot of things they had it with. You see, so even though the day that the Prophet ﷺ was born is greater than the Laylatul Qadr, I'm going to conclude here, inshallah. I had some more preparation, but we're getting to the end. I don't like going over the top. Now, I just want to finish off with this point. Ahlul Sunnah, we're always criticized or sometimes criticized that people say, "Oh, these same people, they don't practice properly." And yeah, I'm against that. Anybody who doesn't practice or follow the Sunnah is wrong. Is wrong. Is completely wrong. But that doesn't mean the person doesn't have love in them. Bear that in mind. Love can be different. Iman is clear about that. When he drank alcohol, but he loved the Messenger of God. Don't curse him. فَإِنَّهُ يُحِبُّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. He loves God and His Messenger. He loves God and His Messenger. You see. And here I want to say the following, and I'm going to finish off with this. Is that I personally think that we have lost a kind of connection to the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. You see, we have definitely lost the connection. Because if we hadn't, then why don't we see him? The question is very simple. If we haven't lost the connection, then where is the Messenger of God to us? The people who love the Messenger of God see the Messenger of God. Or he sees them, or comes to visit them. And I would say that our lifelong ambition is to see the Messenger of God in our dreams. And in a wakeful state, if that be possible, but it would definitely be there if we see him in our dreams. And he, alayhi salatu wasalam, I mentioned the earlier segments, and I think that's that absolute love. And on the Day of Judgment, he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, al-mar'u ma'a man ahab, that the one who, one is with the one who he loves, with the one he loves. Anas ibn Malik was dancing on that day, dancing. He said, "Ya Rasulullah, easy." No doubt. Yeah, it's done. But not done for us. And I personally think that we not need to have gatherings like this. We need to have hundreds of them. Hundreds of them. We need to have gatherings. I tell you what people lack in this day and age. Why is depression so widespread? Because people don't feel love from anybody. Let me tell you something. The Messenger loves all of us. You see, all of us. He loves all of ashaddu hubban. So much so that he would stay up all of those nights and say, Allahu wa in tu'addibu fa innahum ibadu. Allah, if you punish them, they are your people, but if you forgive them, you are the greatest, the most wise. It pains the Messenger of God. Nothing pains him more to see his followers upset. Pains the Messenger of God to see them upset. 2, when they break ties. He loves nothing more than when they love him. Reciprocation. On the Day of Judgment, everybody will find out. On the Sirat, I just want to probably mention the Sirat a little bit. Sayyidah Aisha said, Ya Rasulullah, will a beloved remember the one that he loves, and will they remember each other on the Day of Judgment? He said, Ya Aisha, yes they will. Not in 3 places though. And he mentioned the 3 places. And then later in the commentary to that hadith is the discussion about the Sirat. That the Messenger of God stands at the Sirat. Just look at the whole scene. He doesn't cross it yet. And he waits for his people to come. He will advance first over the Buraq, but saying what? He waits for his people saying, Allahumma sallim, sallim, wa ya Rabb sallim, sallim. God make it easy for them to cross it. At every juncture the Prophet ﷺ says, Allahumma ya Rab sallim, sallim. And he said, no prophet can speak on that day before I speak. Nobody can speak until I speak. And that's something very, very important. That imagine on the Day of Judgment. Imagine on the Day of Judgment that we are in that gathering. I said in London, people talk about the Mawlid here. Imagine the Mawlid in Al-Jannah. People have the hair of the Messenger of God. Often they don't have adab, to be honest with you, but anyway, they have the hair. Look at the state of people just to see the hair of the Messenger of God. Just to see. What if the Messenger of God was sitting there? Imagine those Mawlids. Because they're going to be Mawlids. They're going to be parties. Very big heavenly parties. Very big heavenly Mawlids. But the difference is not with Zayd or Bakr, with Abu Bakr and Zayd ibn Thabit and Hassan ibn Thabit and Umar ibn Khattab and Anas ibn Malik. You see those. And Fatima Zahra alayhi. Imagine that. Isn't it worth it for that? For us, is it not worth the presence? Imagine that Mawlid. And that's why they say the heavens. When people say, what are we going to do in heaven? Are we going to get bored? No, we're just going to have Mawlids. I mean, who's going to get bored of that? You see, people in Rabi don't want it to finish. It's like, tomorrow I'm going here. And they go for the food, they go for the singing, and they go for the company. But you're going to get the best food, you're going to get the best singing, and boy, are you going to get the best company. In the company with Rafiq al-A'la, company of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. Yeah, the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah, that's my advice to myself. The Prophet ﷺ asked one of the Sahaba, he said, what do you want? If you want anything, I'll give you whatever you want. And this was in the hand of the Messenger, فَإِنَّهُ قَاسِمٌ. He hands it out. He said, what do you want? He said, Ya Rasul, let me think about it. Because it's not an easy choice to make. The Prophet ﷺ says to you, what would you like? What would you say if he came to you and said, if anything you want, what would you want? So he said, give me 3 days. 3 days, I'll be back in 3 days, enough time to think about it. And he returns to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, what I would wish is to be with you, suhbatuk, to be with you in Al-Jannah. If people think they're going to get bored in Al-Jannah, then they've completely misinterpreted it. Jannah is about the Messenger of God, alayhi salam, and nothing else. It's to be with the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam. We'll do plenty of ihtifalat there. Mawlids will be every day. We have no time for these people. We have only time for the Messenger of God, alayhi salatu wasalam. If they want some of this light that was given by our teachers, some of this light is absolutely free. You know, I pity people that don't come to gatherings like Burda, that don't come to gatherings with Dalail al-Khairat. Look how much they've lost because of their misunderstanding of the Messenger of God. Look what these people have lost. They've lost every connection to the Messenger of God. It doesn't matter how many Sirah conferences you have lost the Messenger of God. Suhkan, suhkan, remove them from me, for they left my way, he says on the Day of Judgment. So our iltimas is, our dua is of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we meet every month to try to build. If this in building, there's something wrong with me obviously, but at least let Busiri build our love, build that picture for 2 chapters and a half. Build that picture, build that picture, build that picture, build that picture until he states, وَكَيْفَ تَدْعُو إِلَى الدُّنْيَا ضُرُورَةُ مَنْ لَوْلَاهُ لَمْ تُخْرَجِ الدُّنْيا مِنَ الْعَدَمِ. And then he says, Muhammadun, only once ever mentioned in the book that his name, سيد القونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر لي ولكم وأتوب إليه. السلام عليكم.